just need to get the Instagram feed up. And there we go. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program that uses Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force. After we have learned all the science and conducted experiments to drive home those concepts, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything they've learned in the course. After they've selected their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made from. All of those observable pieces of data, they collect those, put them into a spreadsheet, and then all that's left is to set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip, and the students race the cars, and they observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select those cars again, or would they make a different choice based on everything that they have learned and observed? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, all you have to do is visit our website, aerodynamics.com, or you can just follow us on Instagram, and all the information you need is in the bio, and you can talk to me and find out how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not All About Aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So what is Wind Tunnel Wednesday? Well, we have the Fun Tech Labs 1/64 scale wind tunnel, and we're able to take Hot Wheels cars, Matchbox cars, and any other 1/64 scale cars, stick those into the wind tunnel, turn it on, see how the air flows over, under, and around those cars, and then we can get an idea about how much drag those cars are likely to face and how drag will impact those cars when they're racing. When do they race? Well, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, we have AtTheTrack.live, and what we do is introduce new cars into the fleet. I mentioned I bring in 400 cars for the students to choose from, but there are currently 960, actually more than that, about 971 cars currently in the fleet. So what I do is I go into storage, because I have more cars in storage than I've introduced into the fleet, and get some of those cars, crack those open, shoot a picture, do a little review, enter that information into my spreadsheet, and then since the track is already set up, we race the cars. But wait, there's more. You have the opportunity to participate in the races. All you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, and you're going to have 3 options. One is the YouTube stream link, one is the Twitch stream link, but the third link is the most important link. It's the most important link for today. It's the most important link on Saturday. It's always the most important link. It's the link that says choose your car. If you click that link, you will be taken to this page. And on this page, you will see all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet, listed, numbered, and ready to be selected. They are all kinds of different cars representing from the 70s, 80s, 90s, the 2000s. Some cars that just came out a few weeks ago. We've got pretty much every type of Hot Wheels car represented. Even if we don't have the exact Hot Wheels car you're looking for, we've got something fairly close. So what you will do is go through this whole page until you see a car that you think would be faster than one of the cars that I introduce. Then, after that's happened, after you've found the car, let's say it is, let's say it's this one. Let's say it's the 8 crate. You can click on that. You can see it close up. You can see the reflection in the mirror and determine if it is a metal body on a plastic base or a plastic body on a metal base. And if that is the car that you want to choose, that you want to race, then all you have to do is take the number of that car. In the case of the 8 crate, it's 149. You take that number, drop it in the chat. I will pull that car, and that's it. On Saturdays, your car will be pulled and we will race it. Today, if you drop a car in the chat, then I will pull it and we will throw it in the wind tunnel. and check out the aerodynamic profile, and you'll get a sense of how it's likely to perform on the track on Saturday. And if you have a car that you think is the one and it can beat out all the other cars, then it will get an opportunity to take on our fastest in fleet car. And our fastest in fleet car is the car that's won the tournament the previous week. And this past Saturday, we introduced and found a brand new fastest in fleet car. And that brand new fastest in fleet car is this one. It is the RD09. Hey, Roughshod and Virgo, how you doing? 386 and 406. Okay, I will pull those. The RD09. So we've had the RD02 race. We have that in our fleet. We have had the RD04 race. We had the RD06 in our fleet. That has also raced. I don't know if there was ever an RD08, but I found this one in the store, and it's the RD09. I don't know if there had been any other odd number RDO cars. Maybe there was an RDO7, an RDO5. I don't know. I've never seen those. But we have the RDO2, 4, 6, and 9. And 9 is the one that took out our previous fastest in fleet car, the Super Stinger. And it is now the car to beat. It has some interesting kind of interesting design features, which more specifically are just almost like Batmobile like wings at the very back of the car. It gives it a very interesting setup when it's in the launchers, because we have a launching block that pushes the cars out onto the track, and only this point and this point are the only points of the car that are actually touching the launching block. And typically, you want more of the car's surface area to press against the launching block to more or less guarantee a good solid launch. But in this case, this car got enough of a good solid push each time, and it won by pretty significant margins. So this is our new fastest in fleet car, and because it just won on Saturday, it is going to be the first car that goes into the wind tunnel. Obviously, with it being the fastest car, our fastest in fleet car, there has to be some reason for that. And considering that drag is the most significant force working against these cars when they're moving down the track, it only makes sense to put our fastest in fleet car into the wind tunnel, check it out, see what we see, and see if there's any kind of common properties or themes or something that we can see to suggest why this car is performs so well on our track. And as I'm always mention, I don't modify the cars. I don't add graphite to the wheels, anything like that. The only modifications I've ever made have tended to be so that the cars can actually fit into the launcher, into the launch channel, and that is usually what we're the only thing I'm concerned about as far as modifications go. Beyond that, the way the cars come out of the package is the way that they hit the track. So let's check out the RD09 and see what we can see. Oh, another thing is I really dug through my emails, because with the wind tunnel, well, first let me turn this on, then I'll explain. See where that, okay, you can see how that airflow is going right up over the top of the RD09. Got that little puff. This is at 67 miles per hour, which is our basic cruising speed. And we're going to go ahead and turn this up. Now, one of the things that you can see is this smoke kind of drifting in and floating up from the top. When I first got this, it wasn't like that. We didn't have smoke kind of leaking out the sides. We had just 5 pretty distinct airflow channels. And as I turn it up, it gets a little more clear. So now we're up to 107 miles per hour, and it's kind of straightening out. But I had ordered some. They have different nozzles that can go into the Windsible, so you can kind of change the airflow patterns or rearrange them. And I ordered it back in September and hadn't heard anything. And so I went and dug through my emails and then started firing off emails like, yo, to the company, you know, where are my extra nozzles? Let's push this up to 121 miles per hour. And they eventually got back to me and apologized for whatever the delay was, and apparently have put the new nozzles in the mail. So with the holiday, I don't know how the mail's going to get delayed a little bit, but hopefully by next week we'll have the new nozzles and maybe get a tighter streams of smoke. All right, we're up to 147 miles per hour, and I think we're seeing why this car performed as well as it did. That airflow from that, looking specifically at that second stream, is hitting right at the nose and coming up on the hood. The driver's canopy is pretty much in that line, in line with the hood and the roof. So kind of like the Blitz Speeder, like the Slide Kick, like some other cars we've seen, that air just hits the nose, comes up on the hood, and a more traditional car would have a windshield sticking up. So then the air would hit the windshield and have to go up to the roof. With this car, that airflow is coming right up over the top. There's nothing to really obstruct or interfere with the airflow. And this is pretty much what we want to see. You want to see those air streams and the air that's flowing over the car. You want to see it following along the lines of the body. You don't want to see it break away. At the point where the air starts to break away, you're getting a difference in pressure, and it's going to result in this pressure drag that's going to slow the car down. And in some of the other cars we put in, we will see the airflow just kind of break away from the body of the car and be very turbulent. We're at 161, going to push this up to 174, and at 174 miles per hour, we're just seeing the same effect, just a little more clearly, and it is what we're looking for. This is at 188. We've pushed this up to, and the airflow is just hitting, coming right up over the top. And by the time it even starts to get kind of turbulent and break away, it's already at the back end of the car. And I think this is why this car performed so well. And the cars that we see do the best, typically, unless they're just strange and we can't really get a read on the airflow situation, they usually have this in common, is that they're pretty sleek across the top, and there is not a lot in the way to break up that airflow. The majority of these cars are flat on the bottom, so in those cases, it's all similar. So you're not really, there's not really a lot of differentiation between those cars when we're talking about the bottom. It's usually what's happening on the top side, and plus I've got the little wheel stands there, so it kind of messes with the results that we would see from the air traveling underneath the car, because they're gonna hit those wheel stands, and that's gonna kind of throw off the flow. But this is the RD09, and this is one of our I mean, it won the tournament, so it's got 1 week under its belt, but it was moving down the track pretty quickly. It was very impressive. One car that was not as impressive, but still made it down the track, was this one. The SpongeBob car. And if you notice on this side, you can see the pipes on the side right at the bottom by the door. And this car initially had a set of pipes on the other side, but the problem was they were just too wide and wouldn't allow this thing to fit into the launcher. So as it comes around, you can see I had to cut those pipes off, and in order to make it fit. Once I did that, this thing fit into the launcher. It's very tall. That wing at the back makes it extra tall, and so it was a bit of a challenge to get this thing settled in to a point that it could race, but we did, and it raced, and it was predictably not all that impressive. You can just look at the shape of this thing and tell why that is. But I am going to put this in the wind tunnel, because I think it's these cars with the big frontal areas make it easier. I can use this with students, and they will understand why these are not exactly the cars that you want to race. And the thing is, it's not that heavy. It's only 34.9 grams, so it's not heavy at all. And I don't think, let's see, let's get this in here. Probably don't need the, pretty sure we don't need the, yeah, let me take the wheel stands out. Just put this thing in there. And this is why we use the wheel stands, because these cars tend to just roll forward, and that's not what we want. We want them to stay in place. All right, I think we got it. Got this SpongeBob van locked in. See. I may have to put a wheel stand in there just to hold it in place. I'll move it off to the side, and then that way it shouldn't really interfere with the results we see. All right, here we go. This is the SpongeBob SquarePants van. So let's see. I'm predicting that air is we're just gonna see it stack up like crazy right in the front, and then right here at this windshield. So the grill, the windshield, it's gonna be wild. So here we go. Let's see. Push this to 67 miles per hour, and can definitely see that air kind of stacking up. Now some of the air, because that wheel stand, but it's still hitting this grill and hitting the windshield. So let's go ahead and turn this up. That's at 67 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and push it to 107. And the air, once the air gets up to the top, the airflow is fine. It's following along this roof line right to that wing, which is good. But all of this that's happening right here, that's just slowing the car down. And there's no kind of way around that. And now the Windsible's decided it was going to take a break. Okay, well, I am not done, so I'm gonna fire this back up. Yeah, no doubt, a complete brick. This is a Rashad says it's a rolling brick. Yeah, absolutely. But these are the These are the cars. This is one that the character cars are a little tricky. I throw them in there for like curveballs for the students because they might like, not necessarily SpongeBob, but some of the other character cars. And they'll like a character, but then that car isn't the best thing to pick if you're trying to think in terms of aerodynamics and winning races. So it becomes a question of, are they going to use their head or are they going to use their heart when they make their picks? Pushing this up to 147 miles per hour. And you can just see exactly what's happening. And it's sort of the best and worst of both worlds. We have the best right up. If you were just looking from that point of the roof to the tip of this wing, that's actually pretty good. I mean, it's great. The air's flowing right along there. It's not breaking off from the body of the car, flowing right along there, coming to this wing and coming off. It's this part. It's from the top of the roof line down. It's all of this and then this big grill, like so much frontal area that it's just not going to work out well in the end as far as racing. So turning this up, going up to 174 miles per hour. You see a little bit more turbulence on the top, but still it's manageable. 188 miles per hour. And we can see. So the SpongeBob car was never going to really beat out any of the, especially the cars that we had this past Saturday. And if you want to see that episode, you can just check out our YouTube channel and go into the live tab and see what you missed. But yeah, there was no chance that the SpongeBob car was going to beat out some of the other cars that we had racing on Saturday. It just wasn't, it was never going to happen. But I had to get this car in there because it is important to have some variety with the types of cars that are going to hit the track. So let's see. All right, we have this couple cars. Christopher picked this one. This first one that he picked, I really like this one. This is the Night Shifter. I don't know that I've seen this one race. Definitely like just everything about it. It's just a cool fantasy car, and whether or not how it will perform on the track is kind of anybody's guess. It's one of those hybrid fantasy cars where you can look at it and see the inspiration they took from lots of different cars and they just kind of mashed them together. Reminds me a little bit of the Muscle Speeder. See a little bit of that in there and a few others, but we will put this one into the wind tunnel and take a look and see what exactly is going on with this car, the Night Shifter. This is one of the ones he's considering. The other car that he is considering is a more traditional car, and it is one based on a real car. So we'll see how that all works out. I dropped this. Now I got dust all in the launcher or in the wind tunnel. Let me wipe this out. Clean this thing out. All right. And now let's see. Get this Night Shifter in there. And I think we have had, well, I can't say that because we had the Mercedes-Benz, the 500E was our fastest in fleet champion. But there haven't been too many. Most of the cars that have been fastest in fleet have been fantasy cars. And I think part of that is because what we just saw. that the cars that tend to be able to reduce drag and reduce the impact of drag the most are the cars that have that very unrealistic design when it comes to the transition between the hood and the driver's compartment. This is 67 miles per hour. We see how that air is hitting right at that front bumper and coming up over the top, and that airflow looks pretty good, but let's turn it up and get a little more definition. 107 miles per hour right there, and you can see where it gets kind of bright white right here. That's where the air is stacking up against the front of the car as it tries to before it either goes over, under, or around the object that it's encountered, in this case the car. Pushing this up to 134 miles per hour. And we're just still seeing more of the same. I mean, the airflow over the car isn't bad. I just see that there's a lot of air stacking up right at the front, which is something that we didn't see on the RD09. And because, again, it's a fantasy car, and the front end comes down to a point. This is a fantasy car as well, but it's still a lot more traditional body styling than the RD09. So push this up to 161 miles per hour. And that airflow at the back end, it's kind of breaking off, but not so much. I mean, we've seen much worse, because that airflow is still coming up across the hood, the windshield, the roof line. And with a lot of cars, we see the airflow break away from following the lines of the car right around this point, the kind of back toward the back end of the roof. Not the case here. We're at 161, going to push this up to 174. And yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I just don't know how much what's happening in the front of the car is going to work to slow down the car when it's on our track. So this one is the Night Shifter, and it's one of the cars Christopher's considering. As I wind this down, we'll take a look at the other car he may select to ride on the track, to race on the track this Saturday. And that is this one. This is the Plymouth Superbird. Now we had one of these, I want to say, it was not too long ago, but it was yellow. And I don't know if it was a different Superbird, maybe like a different year or something. Or maybe it was exactly the same. Oh, let me switch. Okay. So, yeah, we've got the Superbird. I believe it's yellow, the other one. And, yeah, this is another car that, in theory, it should do well on the track. We will see. But after we put it in the wind tunnel, it gives us a little better idea of what it potentially may end up doing. But first thing is, I'm noticing this is a narrow car. With all these Superbirds, they're very narrow. And narrow cars are not usually the best thing to go with on our track, because they have a tendency to bounce around the track. But we will see with this Plymouth Superbird if that is in fact the case, or when in the wind tunnel, what we're going to see is whether or not this traditional design, which is, it's hard to call a Superbird traditional, but when you're comparing it to some of the other fantasy cars that we have put in, it is traditional. So more so, I'm thinking about the windshield and how that is going to play into. Whoop, now I've got the back. Let's get this thing straight here. Okay. All right. So now I'm interested in what's going to happen when the air hits this. I'm pretty sure it'll come up over the hood, but when it hits this windshield at that angle, I'm kind of expecting the air to kind of break off and become very turbulent. But let's see what happens. Lock the Superbird in. Fire it on up. And we'll see when that air... Okay. So the air, same thing, comes up over the hood, hits that windshield, and it does flow back up over the top toward the back end of the roof. It looks like it does start to break off, but that's pretty typical of most of the cars we put in the wind tunnel. Now the one thing that you don't see, so because and this is at 107 miles per hour, going to turn this up to 121, and you can see that the air is hitting right at the front, but then you can kind of see it arcing up. So air from this second, the third smoke stream is coming across, hitting right on the hood, and I think that's what we see here. This air coming right across, hitting the windshield, and then coming up. But this arc, this one that we see right here, that is from this first stream. This is hitting, and then right there at the tip, it's coming up, and it's just coming all the way up. It's kind of arcing, breaking away from the body of the car. So we're not really getting, let's turn this up, see if it becomes a little more clear. Up to 147 miles per hour, and it's faint, but you can still see that air is hitting right there, and it's curving up right along that line, right there. Then that third stream is coming in, hitting right on across the hood, sort of skating across there, hitting the windshield, and then coming up, and that's this line you see. And yeah, this is something that we didn't see with the RDO 9. That was not the case. So let's go ahead and push this up to 174 miles per hour. And what you want is for that airflow, you want that air just flowing right along the body of the car. And let's see. And that following with the air is basically, it's a moving fluid essentially, and it's following a curved surface. And that's the Coanda effect, and that's what you want to have happen. Let's push this up to 188. Now another thing with the night shifter, we saw a lot of really bright white smoke kind of building up at the front of the car, and then it went over, under, and around. With this one, we don't see that right here because it's got this pointed nose, so the air just splits that, and then it starts to get a little brighter in this area. But I think this Superbird would have some issues. It would probably end up slowing down toward the back end of the track, and again, that is not what you want to see. But Christopher has a decision to make. It's either going to be the night shifter which is had a lot of air building up against the front of the car, but beyond that point, it was pretty good, pretty streamlined, versus the Plymouth Superbird that has a good, like, the nose of the car is fine. It's just what happens to the air after it hits that. Is that going to work to slow the car down so much that it loses the race? And that is completely possible. So he's got to pick between a fantasy car that's not so extreme and a real car that is, at least that wing is definitely the definition of extreme. So he's got a choice to make. Now, speaking of unique cars, this is one of the most unique cars that we've ever put on the track. We've put dinosaur cars and spider cars and different kinds of character cars onto the track, but this one, the BuzzKill, is different than all of those. And we've got the wings in the back, and this car didn't perform as well as I was expecting, and I believe this one tended to slow down towards the back end of the track, which is what happens with lighter cars. And this was definitely a light car. But let's go ahead and throw it in the wind tunnel to see exactly what was going on with this car when it was on the track. So let me grab this one, the BuzzKill, and jump over here to get this thing in the wind tunnel. Drop that down and move over just a bit. Okay, so it's got the round bumblebee head, and it's got the engine sticking up here. So there is a lot to interfere with the airflow, and I think that is what we are going to see, and it's going to explain this car's pretty poor performance on Saturday. So let's go ahead and fire it up. And so with this, we already see this kind of haze right around the sides and around the head. And that is because that air, some of it's going over, some of it's going under, some of it's coming around. The air that's coming around ends up producing this kind of haze. But let's go ahead and press this up. The speed jumping up to 107 miles per hour. Not really seeing anything too strange. Up to 134. And there's just a lot of all of this area where it's very hazy just suggests that the air is flowing all around this car, and not in ways that are going to be helpful to it on the track. Not too much to see there. I think this is the more helpful, useful view. And go ahead and push this up to 161 miles per hour. And then I am going to pull, let's see, did I write them down? Need to write down. Okay, so Roughshod is looking at car number 386, potentially. and car number 406. So I am going to go and pull those while the BuzzKill sits in the wind tunnel. Let me go grab those cars. Right. So the BuzzKill. Now among insect cars, that may have been the car to pick, but it doesn't. It didn't do it. Didn't get the job done on our track. But we are looking at for Roughshod's pick. He is going with potentially this Batmobile, which is one of, I believe we're up to about 17 different Batmobiles in the fleet. And this, the Batmobile, the Arkham Asylum Batmobile, which was our fastest in fleet car for a couple of weeks there, just recently, it was probably the first Batmobile to win our Saturday tournament, so that was impressive. And then it went on to become our fastest in fleet champion. It had a little short title reign, but it was a Batmobile. I think the part that's interesting is most of the Batmobiles that we have are they're different. They just have like a different look and feel to them. Each one is pretty distinct. And this one is no different. I forget, I haven't looked to see which movie or TV show or whatever this is from. I am noticing that in the front there is a bat head, the head of a bat right here, which I never noticed before. But there is that. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw this in the wind tunnel and see what we see, because I am a little curious about this one. All right, let's see. Here we have the Batmobile, and this is one of the Batmobiles tend to be pretty big cars. This one's longer than, at least it's longer than the last that Arkham Asylum Batmobile we had, and this is looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and see what this Batmobile has, right? Yeah, this is going to be interesting because that Batmobile, it just has the point from the wing is going to be the only part of that wing that touches the launching block as it kind of comes into more focus here at 67 miles per hour. A lot of turbulence. Like, look at the arc on that air right at the front. Excuse me. Right here, it's just hitting and it's coming. That curve, it's coming way up, all the way up. But let's turn this up, see what we see if things kind of clear up a little more. Pushing this up to 101 miles per hour, and that air hitting that that bat head right at the top. Look at how it's just flowing all the way up here. It's not even kind of following along the body lines of the car. It's just hitting here and breaking up. And ultimately this car is it has to push through the air. And with this happening, that makes that more difficult. And definitely if you compare this to, say, the RD09, there's not really any comparison. This is not in terms of the aerodynamics, that huge bat head is not doing this car any favors. And this is at 134 miles per hour. And let me just check on, because that other car that Roughshod was considering, I think it's in a different case. I just need to check. It is car number 406. Oh, the duck and roll. Okay. So yeah, so this Batmobile, let's go ahead and I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Pushing this up to 161 miles per hour. And that air is just it's all over the place, really. We have air streams hitting that bad hit, flying up over the top. We have the air streams that are coming in. Air is turbulent because it's actually flowing above. So the car is here. This airstream is flowing above that, almost straight across until it hits this wing. But this other turbulent air is kind of breaking up that pattern and that flow. Let's push this up to 174 miles per hour. Yeah, this car would have, at least in theory, it would seem like this car would have some issues on the track, just because of that aerodynamic profile and the amount of drag that this car would encounter. Seems like it would prevent it from really performing all that well, but you never know. That's why we have to race the cars, because if we only went by what we're seeing, and just speculating based on, even though most of the guesses and most of the things, it's a hypothesis, it's an educated guess, we're basing our predictions and guesses on what we've seen. And Roughshod's been watching enough of these races that he knows the kinds of cars that tend to do well. And also, he's seen that you got to go outside the box and take a chance, because sometimes it's those strange cars that we don't know how they're going to perform. And speaking of that, the other car that he's considering is this one. It is the Duck and Roll, this rubber ducky inspired Hot Wheels car. And it's compact. It is plastic. That is, all the yellow is plastic. The engine in the back is plastic. The base is metal. That blue part is metal. And this is the Duck and Roll. Very unique car. And I think when we put this into the wind tunnel, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the duck's head right there. There is going to be some frontal area, and I think kind of like with the, like the Batmobile in a sense, that air is, we're going to see the air going all over the place, and I don't know that the wind tunnel is going to give us the kind of information that's really going to tell us how this car is going to perform. Some of these cars just have to hit the track, and we don't know until we hit the track. And looking a little closer, trying to see if the mouth area is open. There's a bit of a little opening kind of right there. And just looking to see if there's enough area for air to go in there and kind of get trapped, which would not work in a car's favor when you're trying to win a race. So let's go ahead and throw this in the wind tunnel and see what we see. Switch on over here, put this thing down. We have, this one's a little tricky. Maybe it'll just sit there. Will it sit? Will it sit without the wheel stands? Nope. So wheel stands it is. And let's get some in the back here. Up. Move these right there. Oh, this one's gonna be a little tricky. Get this here. Get these under the front wheels, right about there. All right, now we're good. All right, we've got this rubber ducky in here. Let me make sure it's lined up. All right, now we're looking good. Got this, what's it called? The duck and roll. Let's go ahead and slam this lid shut and see what happens. This is a wild car. All right, here we go. 67 miles per hour. Let's see what that air is doing. So it's hitting the duck's head and then just kind of following along that curved surface. So that's a positive. Now there does seem to be a lot of frontal area right here below the bill. So right in this area. But let's go ahead and turn the wind tunnel up. See what happens. We are up to 107 miles per hour. And that air is up top by the head. It's just sort of hitting the head and following along the curves and then getting to the back. This car is so short that even when the air does kind of break off, it's in this area, it's not there's not much to the car. So pushing this up to 134 miles per hour. And from the bill up seems okay. I'm not like the air is just following along the curves. It's below that where I'm concerned, but let's go ahead and take a look overhead, see if we can see anything. Not too much. You can kind of see the air kind of flowing off and around when it comes off the head. The duck and roll. Let's go up to 161 miles per hour. And you can see a little faint line at the top. After the airflow comes up over the top and then comes back down, you can see a little line right here where it is coming back down, but it's not coming back down and connecting with the body of the car. It's coming back down and then sort of getting caught up in all this turbulence and just breaking away back in this area. And there goes the Windsible, saying, yeah, it's had enough. But I want to see this thing. I don't know if we got up to 188. But it's the duck and roll. I'm trying to think if this car has been picked before. I don't recall any students picking it. It's an open wheel car, but I don't, with the way that it's the wheels are set, I don't know that we'd have the issue with the axles getting bent because a portion of the wheel is still protected by the car on the back side. All right, pushing this up to 188 miles per hour. This one's going to be interesting. If this is the one that Roughshod goes with, it's going to be an interesting race and interesting to see this one on the track. Can it beat out the other cars? I don't know. This is up to 188 miles per hour. And there we have it. We have the duck and roll. And that would be if roughshod goes with this one over the Batmobile, then I think that'll be the first time this car races. And it, we can see from the wind tunnel, we can see how the car, get a sense for the aerodynamic profile. But with this one, so wild, it's going to be really hard to tell what this car is going to do. So this is one that racing the car first and then going back and seeing how looking at the aerodynamic profile will give us more information. So roughshod, he's going with it. He's going with the duck. So we will see the duck on Saturday. Hey Christopher, how you doing? We had your cars in a little while ago, and so they looked. It was pretty interesting. We had the night shifter, we had the Superbird, and you definitely have an interesting choice, because those cars had. Let me just take a look. Yeah, the night shifter and the Superbird. Just making sure I had the names right. Those cars were. The night shifter was had a more traditional aerodynamic profile, which you'll be able to see on the replay as soon as we're done, or you can even scroll back. But the night shifter had air building up in the front and then kind of flowed over, which seemed fine. The Superbird was interesting because the nose came to a point and the air flowed right over that. It didn't build up in the front, but then it just kind of arced away. It wasn't really, the air wasn't following the lines of the body in the way that I would have thought. But it's going to be an interesting pick, because you're going to have to decide whether or not to kind of go with the car that had a lot of air building up in the front, or the car that had air sort of breaking away from the body of the car, which is not typically what you want to see. But that RD09's aerodynamic profile was back with pretty similar to the what we had with the Blitz Speeder. Okay, Christopher's going to go with the Superbird. So we've got the Superbird, we've got this duck. Those are already locked in and set for this Saturday, 11 a.m. at the Track Live. If you are watching this anytime between today and Saturday, and you say, you know what, I can pick a car faster than those, then all you have to do, go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, and you'll have 970 some odd cars to choose from. And we will be introducing more cars on Saturday, including this one that I just got in the mail today, the Quick Chat. This is based on that Fisher-Price telephone. I don't even know if I guess maybe they still make them. When I was in like preschool, we had one of these in the classroom, and I remember it. So this is a cool little Fisher-Price Quick Chat telephone car. And but here's the thing. Just like the Rock and Railer had the little tabs to make the engine wobble back and forth, and we ended up having to cut the tabs off so that the car could race without having that slow it down. This car has tabs on the back wheels that basically make the telephone ring or shake back and forth, and that is a cool feature. But I'm going to have to make a decision between now and Saturday whether or not we are going to cut those tabs off so that this thing can just race. It might not be all that fast anyway, but it's definitely going to have problems if we keep those tabs on. So I bought this online, so I paid a little more, so it'd be different. Like the Rock and Railer, I can go to the grocery store. These are not popular, so I go to the grocery store and pick up a bunch of these and cut the tabs off, no problem. But ultimately, having to buy a car online and then cut the tabs off, I'm not going to buy another one just so I have one without the tabs. But I'm pretty sure the tabs are going to go. But anyway, this is just one of the cars that's going to be racing definitely on Saturday. I have a few more I have a lot more in storage. I have a few more that I picked up, but that's just one. Let's see. Did I put your cars? Yeah, I put your cars in the wind tunnel earlier. The Night Shifter and the Superbird were both in the wind tunnel. And like I said, if you scroll back on the live video, or as soon as we end, it will be posted, and I'll eventually be entering in time codes and stuff, but you can take a look. And if you decide after seeing that you want to switch it up and go with the Night Shifter, no problem, just let me know. And anyone else who's watching, if you tune in on Saturday, all you have to do is take the number of the car after you go to AtTheTrack.live and go to choose your car, take the number of the car, drop it in the chat, and I will pull the car, and you will be racing against the Superbird, or possibly, well, the Superbird, the Duck and Roll, this telephone car, whatever other cars I introduce. And if you can beat out all of those, then you get to face the RD09. And the RD09 is going to be it looks like it's going to be a tough car to beat. And based on the aerodynamic profile, that's pretty much what you want in any car that can minimize drag. First thing, minimize drag. Second thing, minimize friction from the bouncing around. So stay straight, be wide enough to stay straight on the track. Minimize drag. Eliminate the bouncing back and forth by staying straight on the track. And then the third thing is the weight. And with the weight, you know, ideal weights between 32 and 36 grams. Cars outside of that have done well. We've had cars that I believe maybe the RD09 is below that. So it's not necessarily a deal breaker, but the most important force that's operating against these cars, forward momentum, is drag. And the wind tunnel helps us get an idea about that. So we will be racing those cars. And we will be here on Saturday. If you are in the United States, happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. And we will be up here just racing cars. If you have a car that you think that if you know there's a car that you want to race and you don't want to scroll through all of the cars that we have listed, just send me a message and I will check the spreadsheet, let you know if I have the car. If I don't have the car, I'm likely to try and order the car. So we'll get the cars on the track one way or the other, and that is that. So for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, for All About Aerodynamics, and for At The Track Live, I am Coach James, and until next time, I will see you at the races.